Hello, I'm Sherry Henley with Business Over Coffee. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today our title is How Social Media, Psychology and Sustainability Meet Online. It's going to be good, so stay right where you are. We'll be right back. Business Over Coffee, what do? We work with professionals who want to optimize their business through three things: social media, educational exchange, and networking events. And we are bringing everyone together with four things: connections, collaboration, exposure, and business. And we are so glad you're here. Please visit our website at businessovercoffee.com and you'll learn more about us. But today we are focused on this topic: how social media psychology and sustainability meet online. And I have my excellent professional mentor, I should say, and co-host Shelley Baur with me today.
Thank you, Sherry.
And I am so happy to have you on the set. And this is the show that we link up together. We're LinkedIn, right? And run this show and have some of the best come in terms of professionals. So we have Mary Singer with us today. And I would like you, Shelley, to take over from here and introduce Mary.
Mary Singer, as you know, is an expert in sustainability. She is a serial entrepreneur who reinvented herself a number of years ago based on her passion to leave a legacy for the planet. Yes. Mary, could you give us a definition of sustainability through your vision?
I wanted to just share with you that sustainability means a lot of things for different companies and different people. It depends on where they are and what they're doing. But the most accepted definition that we hear over and over again, it's leaving resources for the future generation and the future generation and the future generation. That really is what our legacy is about. So making sure that when a business or when you individually are using natural resources or engaging with human resources, that you do no harm, that you leave the world in a better place than it was before you started.
Right. And I know how passionate you are about this subject, and you have taken it throughout the region with WeBEC and WeBank South, Women Business Enterprise National Council. And so you've woven your sustainability process into this aspect. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
WeBank is the national certification, and it is the certification that is gold standard for corporate America. And it is the way that they measure their doing the right thing as it relates to inclusion of women in their spend. And so for me, it was a very easy process to incorporate. I am WeBank certified, and to be able to incorporate that into what I'm doing and encourage other women to get on board, it was very, very easy. So what is the business that I'm doing to help women businesses? Any of the large corporations that have a diversity procurement department count their spend. They also very much have sustainability goals. It's measured in three ways. They're social, environmental, and economic. And that's the way it is measured by large corporations. So when they're counting that spend, it counts for their corporate social responsibility as it relates to the social engagement within their communities, what they're doing to make sure women are engaged, scaling and doing larger business opportunities with them. They have that ability to count that.
And so that's now actually a driver on Wall Street, is it not?
It is. It is. The Wall Street now is really looking at those three measurements and how every business that is a Wall Street company is measuring their social, environmental, and economic goals.
So is that called like a sustainability index for people who want to seek out stocks of companies that are very committed to the sustainability movement?
It's called their corporate social responsibility or their sustainability reporting. And the companies that have taken that to a very high level have their annual reports, but the management has taken these measurements out and put them into a format that Wall Street can pay a lot more attention to, that we in the public can pay a lot more attention to. If we're buying a product that Procter & Gamble has and their mini product line, their product line, then what we can do is study that product. The chemicals that are in that product, we can study how it's packaged, and we can ultimately make the decision. They're going to have apps where we can quickly make a decision if it has a lot of integrity and ethics around that product before we bring it home and offer it to our family.
So when you talk about apps, again, you're going back to digital, which is also social media. We tie that into sustainability. And that's one thing I can say with Business Over Coffee International is that Shelley said this morning that if I have to print a brochure, I just about have a nervous breakdown. You know, I love being digital with everything we do because that is absolutely where everything is going.
Well, social media is such a wonderful online way to have the conversations around the things that you care for.
Right.
We're learning from our children and grandchildren at a very grassroots level things that are important. And then all of a sudden you're seeing some things online in a personal way. And then if you are following certain companies that you either have stock in or you are doing business with them or you're buying products from them as a consumer, and you're looking at the way that they are managing their resources, people resources, natural resources. That social media is the way that companies like Procter & Gamble, Walmart, all of the large corporations are really following that online conversation so that they can react much, much sooner to what the consumer is pushing and saying, negative and positive, for their business strategy.
But let me ask you this. We know that we're still on the leading edge, on the bleeding edge even of sustainability and all that can be done to preserve our planet. What are some of the barriers, the obstacles for companies who go, well, that's a good idea, but what are the buts?
Well, there's many buts. The conversation sustainability is big. It has a history and a legacy that is back to the 50s. Bringing that conversation forward and for companies to understand at a grassroots level what their clients are talking about, what their employees are bringing to the table, what they can do inside that corporation to support goals that are very transparent. They have been moved from the annual report to a specific sustainability report now for all of us to see. It's online, it's there, they've bared what they're doing. And the conversation and the forums online when a company is just talking green, added some green tokens, not really doing what needs to be done. And it's hard work. It is hard work because there is no clear-cut solution. We see it every day when we turn on the news in regard to our economic capabilities and creating jobs and what that does. And then we see the conversation around environmental and what scientists are saying for the climate and how we're seeing our food grown. It is such a massive conversation. But social media is truly the way that when we're coming down into a specific need, recycling, it's an individual choice. It's something that we can do in our home. It is something that we can do in our work environment. But how do we get the psychology and that knowledge to a point and a place where they no longer want to just throw everything away, that there's really an opportunity to look at not having waste and doing something that's much healthier for all of us, for our land, for our businesses, for our home life, for our grandchildren. The legacy is rich. Why would we not want to make that change.
Well, I know that you've hit on a personal note there when you talk about your grandchildren, because that's really what made it come to life for you, business drivers notwithstanding and your heart notwithstanding. Talk about your conversation with your grandson, Gammy.
Our family touches our hearts in so many ways, and certainly living this area that I want to create around saving our resources and being much kinder. My grandchildren inspired me. I mean, at a very small age, 3 or 4 years old, they could look at the back of a container and would say, "Gammy, you can't throw that away." When I was working in facilities, we didn't call it sustainability. We called it being very efficient for that building.
Sure.
What the building envelope and the footprint that it had as it related to being a shopping center, and how we could be very efficient. Well, we had to have those efficiencies in place around light and using electricity and using water and using all of those resources. So it was a very easy transition as it related to how I was moving into this transition for helping large companies bring that important conversation to their suppliers. Sure. And help them understand that they had, if they were going to work with this large company, they had to understand the importance of supporting the goals that were laid out there for the whole world to see, and that they had to get on board to support the sustainability goals of the companies that they were working with.
You're
or
so
possibly
passionate.
lose the contract.
And
Yes.
we're seeing that happen more and more. And
One of the things, as we wrap up on this segment, that I would like to bring to light is that you wrote about this. You have a background in real estate, and you wrote about this in the book that just published,
Right.
by BOCI, and all 3 of us are authors in the book, and it's called The Power of Collaboration in Business. And you elaborated on all of this so people can read that. And so based on the fact that people can read all about this in the book, and the fact that you believe enough in social media sustainability that a recent conference that you hosted, Great Women, Great Things, it's an annual conference for WeBank and WeBank South. You brought us in, BOCI, the entire team, to run the media for this conference. So can we talk about the conference and what that does for the women that come to it, as well as the social media aspect of the sustainability that ties in there?
Oh, you got all 3 of your points, your psychology, your social media, and your sustainability that were all represented at that conference. So
yes,
kudos to you, Mary. It was
Yes.
a
well,
record.
it's the 4th year that we've put together the conference, Great Women, Great Things.
Yes.
I decided to ask SunTrust if they would provide our 4th annual meeting with the opportunity to have social media in real time with all of these great women that are doing many wonderful things in their business, and trying to learn and leverage and create greater capacity with the corporations that love to do business with us. And SunTrust said yes, that they were very excited
I'm elated
to do this.
And the collaboration with SunTrust has been excellent. And you say that we have a relationship. We actually have a collaboration where all 3 of us are working together. Shelley with Integrity-Based Communications is highly involved in what you're doing and was highly involved in the conference as well. So Shelley, why don't you wrap us up on this segment?
Well, one of the things that I really loved about the conference was bringing in the psychology of LinkedIn, because anybody who's anybody in the business world knows that LinkedIn is the business social media presence online.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
Mary and I were privileged to meet J.D. Gershbein at an entrepreneurial conference back in the spring of this year, and we were so impressed with him that we retained him to work on our LinkedIn profiles. We'll talk about that in the next segment.
Yes.
But that was one of the things. There were many things. Our keynote speaker was from Banneker. I mean, we had, what, 13 different roundtable topics, and social media and social media intelligence was your topic. So it was really phenomenal. There were over 170 women and major corporate sponsors there, and it was a way to really connect with the ability to do corporate contracting and how to retain your corporate contracts, and it was just a phenomenal experience.
And some of the sponsors for that conference that you were able to bring on board through your business and your contacts, it shows what a savvy businesswoman you are. So you're definitely one of my mentors, as well as Shelley. Can you name some of those sponsors for us?
International Paper has been a sponsor. This is their fourth year of sponsoring this event, and they understand the importance of women suppliers. And they do an excellent job of bringing them into their organization, helping mentor them and helping them grow. So we love having International Paper. Chevron was also a sponsor this year, and Mia Spicer came in from New Orleans and brought many ideas and ways to collaborate for Chevron, SunTrust, of course, and many corporations that really believe in what we're doing and how we're positioning women in this marketplace to scale regional and globally.
Right, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mary, for being with us. Mary Singer. To contact Mary Singer, you will go to crgsustainablesolutions.com. Simply go to her website and you can find her there. If you would like to email Mary for more information, you can email msinger@crgss, as in Sam.com. We will see you on the next segment with J.D. Gershbein. Stay right where you are.
Hey, this is Jamie Hall from Rising Fire Productions, here to tell you about In Frame, a weekly web show that we host every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. at www.risingfire.com.
And I immediately get worried. I immediately go, uh-oh.
We bring guests on to discuss the business of film, art, and entertainment.
You think about, okay, how many DVDs can I sell?
Join us every Sunday from 7 to 9 at risingfire.com.
We are back. Sherry Henley with Business Over Coffee with my co-host Shelley Baur. And we have been discussing how social media, psychology, and sustainability meet online. We have J.D. Gershbein all the way from Chicago, Illinois, who talks about and teaches the psychology of LinkedIn. Shelley, I want you to elaborate and introduce J.D. for us.
JD, welcome to Memphis. We're so happy to have you here. And JD came in for the WeBEC meeting, the Great Women, Great Things, and he wowed them from the opening keynote speech to his breakout roundtable to a very special workshop in the afternoon for an intimate group of people who really wanted to dive into the psychology of LinkedIn and how it can really be leveraged to build more business for us online. So it ties all three of your components of the theme today, and we are so excited to have you here. Would you please start off by telling our audience here what you told them live?
Well, it's really something that just kind of evolved naturally with me, Shelley. And by the way, may I say I'm delighted to be in Memphis and have Business Over Coffee. It really gives me the opportunity to do everything that I've been trained to do, ladies. I'm a man of science. I've never, ever downplayed that. And when the social media revolution really started to take off and gain wings, I decided that I wanted to go that route. Whereas everybody seems to talk about certain things regarding social business and the prominence of LinkedIn and what you should do on the site to generate leads and find jobs and create new opportunities, I decided that I wanted to look at how this really works, which is on the deepest emotional and intellectual centers of the brain. Quite frankly, how else can you explain that we can look at a computer screen, find somebody who could provide a service, sell us a product, or hire us for a job, and based on the information they see on that screen, give them an interview, create conversations around a topic, bring them into the enterprise. And that fascinated me. And in essence, what I do, the essence of my business is I package people for sale on LinkedIn.
What are the tips that you would give individuals who are just starting to build their LinkedIn profile?
When I first started doing the work in early 2007, after discovering the site soon, just prior to that, The LinkedIn profile was not the document that it is today. It was a bit more static, it was a bit more unrefined, it was not aesthetically pleasing.
Sure.
Now, with the changes on LinkedIn, it no longer looks like some undergraduate's IT project.
Right.
It is a real site. It is a vibrant visual medium.
Yes.
So for people who have postponed really exploring the depths and breadth of this document, it's time to care. This would be the first piece of advice I would give. It's time to care how you look on this site, because not only are people noticing, they have the wherewithal to base a decision on the face value created in that document. So all of what you've been hearing about the LinkedIn profile is true. You have to state who you are. You have to leave no ambiguity as to what you do. You have to make it very clear with whom you'd like to connect, and you must have a call to action on the page so you can instruct people who could write your checks what next steps to take with you. Have a great headshot, a headshot that captures your enthusiasm, your energy. It has a warm, welcoming smile. Have the right amount of text for the search engines and for networking. The tendency I'm noticing is a little bit away from search engine optimization and more toward personal humanization. This is becoming a more humanized platform. People care about what they read about you. And if you don't have what they should see, with the fragile attention spans we have as humans on the internet, we're zoning out.
One of the things that you shared was how important testimonials are, and we all know that face-to-face, having a testimonial, using video, etc. But what about LinkedIn endorsements?
What is the deal with those LinkedIn endorsements,
Yes.
huh? Those crazy LinkedIn endorsements. Well, one thing that it has done, without question, it has brought back the sheer importance and cruciality of the written LinkedIn recommendation. We're all courting credibility. We all want good things to be said about us. You're no different than me. We all want people to know in business that we have been approved by others who have bought our product or who have engaged us for the work.
Sure.
What the written LinkedIn recommendation now does is it creates a more experiential framework around what we do.
Right.
These are our satisfied clients. These are our educated colleagues. These are the people we hold in esteem who are now selling us to people who are accessing this document called the LinkedIn profile.
Absolutely.
So much of what we provide is our own. The LinkedIn written recommendation is user-generated content. We will not change good words written about us by others. We will refuse to do that.
Right,
Everything
right.
else can go, but
Sure.
boy, that one from the boss or the coworker or the satisfied client or the colleague, especially the C-level people at companies, good, strong, solid recommendations that speak to our core competencies and our ethics,
Yes.
those stay. Endorsements, more of a superficial acknowledgement. And we're being endorsed by people who really come in with no prior knowledge of us having these skills. But recommendations, different story. These are folks who have really been there with us in the trenches, engaged us for the work. They know what we can do.
And for those people who feel timid about asking for a recommendation, what would you say to them in terms of the psychology behind that?
Lose your timidity.
Absolutely.
Ask, because it also becomes a great collaboration exercise.
That's right.
Rarely will you receive a recommendation that hits the high note right off the bat, and it's okay, if not, to work with the person to develop talking points around the recommendation, because you would do the same thing if you were asking for a recommendation letter, a hard copy letter in the real world.
Right.
I want to talk about something that you were one of the first to do it, and that is the video Welcome to My LinkedIn Profile piece.
The LinkedIn profile welcome video. I've always believed in video. Who doesn't at this stage of the game?
Google certainly does.
I mean, let's face it, they've got to get a look at you, don't they?
Right.
The great headshot, I still believe, is the most salient aspect of our brand on LinkedIn. Video marketing is not yet a mainstream practice, but more and more people are taking the plunge and doing it. It's not cheap. And it should be professional and polished. It should not be something that you sit in front of your computer on Skype with the baby in the background or the dog barking. It really should be a very focused, edited, professional, scripted, storyboarded event where you're really talking to people about not only what you do, who you do it for, and why you do it, but who you want to connect with on LinkedIn. When you have a video on the LinkedIn profile that really telegraphs who you are and with whom you'd like to connect, it becomes a clearinghouse, and you're going to focus on getting good people, solid people into your network.
It also segues back into the humanization of who you are. Now they can feel that personable side of you by watching that video. Also, another thing that I love about LinkedIn is the fact that Shelley recently co-authored a book with me, as well as Mary Singer, who was on here earlier, and several other authors that were in the book. And we were able to upload the cover, the pre-release promo as a project, and then put all of those people in there as collaborators. So it actually enhanced all of our profiles by doing that. Can you elaborate on those pieces of the LinkedIn profiles and what you can do?
Absolutely. LinkedIn has implemented the rich media format, so you can not only link to existing videos on YouTube, it could be in your hard drive, you can upload videos, wherever the visual imaging is, you can get it on the site. It could even be stills, it could be a PowerPoint presentation. Anything visual can now be imported into LinkedIn. It's embedded into the profile. It's a click away, but you have to get back to the profile just like Facebook. But what it says is, people may not have time to read all the great stuff you've written about yourself, or outsourced me to write about you. But
Innocent is charged.
but they will take time to launch a video if they see that it's a minute, minute 15, minute 20. They have time for that. So what you put in that minute 20 should have everything that they could read, but it's between the lines now, because social encourages us to be authentic.
That's right.
You are no more authentic than in your own video, looking at the camera or looking kind of off-site, you know, in Elmore Leonard interview style, where you're really talking to people and espousing your own virtues, but in a very real way, where you look human. You look like the guy that people, or the gal that people should do business with. You look like the ideal candidate. You look like the confident service provider.
Absolutely.
So my takeaway from the work that I've been privileged to do with you is specialize and make sure that you communicate that specialty, and then you choose strategically how you will collaborate, the groups with which you will engage, how you manage your contacts, and how you manage your messaging.
You couldn't be more right. Above all else, and a lot of people are trying to deep think this now, all LinkedIn is, all any of social media is a communication platform. That's all it is. And social is unique, and LinkedIn is even more unique. It is a two-way and a broadcast communication platform. And the groups are a great way to gain market research, to gain competitive advantage, to connect with the right people, and build a network that is going to have a lot of value.
You know, you said something that I got to bring this up as a pushback when I was talking to corporations about having you in for private consulting sessions or small workshops, and the perception that, oh, well, LinkedIn is just where you go if you want to have a job, and it's like, au contraire, LinkedIn is where you want to manage the message, keep in compliance with the guidelines of the corporation, because the people that I work with are interfacing with surgeons, are interfacing with research teams, and people are checking them out online before they ever get to the meeting, so that they have a sense of, you know, who is this person behind the title. So it's very important.
Well, the idea that LinkedIn is a static business directory, I think, has gone by the wayside. It is no longer that. It was a place where people created accounts just to kind of sit there, and they didn't work on the networking piece. But now, wherever you are, and because we have these devices that clip onto our belts, and that in an instant we can access a world of information, I know salespeople who don't make a move without it. Myself, I don't make a move without it. I am researching everybody prior to a meeting. Better meeting preparedness. We all know that business intelligence is really the greatest asset we have in any transaction, or any engagement, or the value we can bring to any enterprise. Knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is revenue. I've sat with people in corporations, and they've literally been side by side with me, and they will say to me, JD, I have to tell you that I don't attach a lot of value to LinkedIn because I'm very happy here, and I'm not looking for a job. So the power of LinkedIn early on as a tool for job seekers was there. Now it's coming back to its job seeker roots because sadly so many people are out of work in a turbulent economy. But the job-seeking power of LinkedIn has been augmented since those early days. And now job seekers truly have to run their job search like a business. So they too, they have to be in a client acquisition mode, in a lead generation mode. And they must use LinkedIn to capture its messaging potential in the same way that an executive would to establish a thought leadership platform, or a corporate manager or executive vice president of sales would manage a sales team. So the use of LinkedIn, the collective advantage that a company has in using it through its individual employees and the energizing of their profiles is immense and really untapped potential.
But the bottom line, this is what I say to the corporations, if you've got client engagement people who are meeting with physicians, who are meeting with researchers, who are meeting with collaborators at national meetings, they are going to be checked out. Your employees, Mr. Corporate CEO, are being checked out online before they meet with the scientists and the researchers, and yes, even the journalists from time to time.
Better believe it. You have to look good for the company. It's brand ambassadorship at its most elemental form. You are an ambassador of your brand if you are a corporate employee. And those who have stronger client-facing activities, they are the ones that need their representations sterling.
Thank you so much for being with us all the way from Chicago, right here in Memphis,
It's
Tennessee.
a world away, isn't it?
Yes.
Just adjusting to the same time zone has been the toughest thing.
Well, for those of you who would like to connect with J.D. Gershbein, first of all, make sure you have a great LinkedIn profile.
That's right, folks. And personalize that invitation.
And if
personalize that invitation.
That's true.
Don't
yes.
send me that default, standardized, formulaic, boilerplate
Because he'll say
text.
no.
Exactly. You can find J.D. Gershbein by simply going to LinkedIn. Tell me about your experience with Shelley Baur and Mary Singer with the conference that you came to Memphis for.
Well, you know, I have LinkedIn to thank for basically everything at this stage of the game, because not only did it allow me to really fuse my educational and academic and my interests in life in one pursuit, but it allows me to meet great people and have great opportunities. I've been a speaker since the early 1980s when I was years old, and I was asked to speak at a conference in Washington, D.C. called the Inside Edge, and it's my first trip to Washington since I was a kid, so I get on the shuttle from the hotel to, from the airport to the hotel, and I meet Shelley and Mary Singer, and you know how it is, you're strangers until the first comment gets thrown out, and then by the time we got to the hotel, we were pals.
That's right. And may it ever be so.
Now look at us.
I guess, you know, they liked what they saw when I spoke there. I was a keynote there, and I'm really, at this stage of the game, quite frankly, like the feather in Forrest Gump. I just seem to go from place to place to place. Whoever's interested in having a conversation with me, I will have the conversation.
Life is like a box of
I
chocolates.
love being in front of an audience. I mean, I never met a microphone I didn't like, but what I do that I think differentiates me is I like to go out there and create value and do this for the right reasons. I take my role as a LinkedIn educator very seriously.
Yes.
So my function here at this conference was to be in front of a receptive audience and not tell them that they should do anything. I don't tell anybody they should do anything on social networking sites.
Right.
I show them what's possible.
Sure.
So my role and my desire to come out here to Memphis was to show these women what's possible if they start to care and attach value to their activity, and to convince them as best I can that it really, really works.
Thank you. And again, thank you for being our guest today. J.D.
Of course.
Gershbein, Shelley Baur co-host. You can find Shelley on ShelleyBaur.com or IntegrityBasedCommunications.com. You can find J.D. on LinkedIn, of course, and also at Owlish, just like an owl with the big eyes, communications.com, and you can find me at SherryHenley.com. Also visit businessovercoffee.com. We are so glad you're here with us today, and we are continuing to accomplish our mission, which is bringing everyone together. God bless you.